Hi, this is Adina Ruskin with Sharing Stories and Stuff. In a previous episode, I talked about the power and importance of manifestation and how we can manifest good things and people and friends into our lives. Well, today's story is about how when you do something good, when you do an act of kindness, the universe often repays you with a gift. And sometimes that gift can be quite an adventure. This story starts in Franconia, New Hampshire in the late 1970s, in the tiny supermarket and in a tiny, tiny town. And I heard some people speaking in French. And I was a teenager. I didn't speak French at the time. And so I rushed over to my mom and I said, I think these people are lost and they're talking in French. So my mom went over and started talking with them. And lo and behold, they followed us home for coffee, stayed for dinner, and became dear family friends. They were a French couple, who lived in Rabat, Morocco. And he was a lawyer and she was an anthropologist. So whenever they were in New York, they'd stay at our house. We became good friends. Flash forward several years to 1983, and I'm a sophomore in college studying at the University of Cordoba. And I was studying the magical time in Spain when the Muslims dominated and there was a renaissance of culture and ideas and language and philosophy under this Moorish domination. And the Jews and the Moors got along very well. And I wanted to study this kind of history because I'm hoping that we can achieve something like that again in the future. One of my professors told me that I had to visit Morocco because parts of Morocco hadn't changed in over 1,000 years. So when my mom called and said, oh, we want to come visit for Easter and we'd like to take you anywhere you'd like to go, I immediately said, I want to go to Morocco. So they said, great, very exciting. And my mother went to the tourist bureau in New York and bought flights from Cordoba, well, actually from further south in Spain to Casablanca, and then from Casablanca to Marrakesh, and from Marrakesh to Fez. And she arrives with my dad in Cordoba and says, okay, everything's arranged, but I didn't get hotel reservations. And I'm like, what? And she said, I thought I'd call from here. And I was like, Mom, it's Easter. And the King of Spain is going to be visiting the King of Morocco. And half of Europe is going to be vacationing in Morocco. And in 1983, to make a phone call, you had to go to the telephone office, to the building, and where an operator would put you through. I mean, it was not easy. So my poor mother spends the entire day in the phone company trying to find a hotel reservation. And everything. I mean, she started with, let's say, like a Marriott and ended with, like, she couldn't even find anything in the equivalent of like an Eco Lodge. Everything was booked. And she is now sobbing. And my dad is going, oh my God, we're going to sleep with the camels. And I was like, Mom, what were you thinking? And she kept saying, the man at the tourist bureau said, pas de problème, madame, pas de problème. And we realized that pas de problème, meaning no problem, meant it wasn't his problem. It was ours. So one of us had the idea to call our friends in Rabat. So my mom was like, well, at least they're in Morocco. It'll be easier to make a phone call. So she calls him and he says, don't worry. When you get to the airport in Casablanca, call me and I'll give you your hotel information. So we arrive. My dad still going, oh my God, we're going to sleep with the camels. And we call him and he says, okay, in Casablanca, you're staying at the Sofitel and everything else is arranged. I'll pick you up for lunch and I'll explain everything. But when you check in, just remind them that the reservation was made by the governor of Mahomedia. So we're like confused and excited, and we arrive at a hotel that was something out of the Arabian Nights. I mean, spectacular, lavish, beautiful. And we check in. And the president of the hotel comes down to greet us. And we're just having a great time. This is so exciting. My mother, being the practical one, goes, "Excuse me, but how much is this going to cost us?" And the president of the hotel goes, "Cost you? Cost you? My goodness. You are the guest of the governor of Mohammedia. This won't cost you anything." So now we're like giddy and excited. And we meet our friends for lunch. And he explains that he too tried to make a reservation and couldn't. And at that time, the king of Morocco had asked all of his governors to go back and get higher education. And the governor of this region was our friend's student. And he often complained to Alain saying, "You never ask me for a favor." And that's an insult. You know, in my culture, you're supposed to ask for a favor. And that way I can show you how much I appreciate you. So Alain called him and said, "Okay, this time I really need a favor. These are people who did a lot for me. They're very dear friends, and I can't get any reservations." So the governor of Mohammedia made reservations for us in Casablanca, Marrakesh, and Fez, and the entire trip was on him. So we had lots of wonderful adventures, and we were, of course, excited and delighted, and my parents spoiled me in the Medina buying things because the whole trip was free. And then my father sent a beautiful thank you to the governor of Mohammedia. It was definitely a cross-cultural experience. Just like my house, since we celebrate Hanukkah and Christmas. Interfaith, cross-cultural. So I hope you've enjoyed the story. Most of my stories are going to be more spiritually oriented, and I am looking for those who would like to share their stories and create a community of sharing stories and stuff. Thanks for listening. Ciao.
Hey guys, make sure to share this video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe,
Hit the bell.
yeah, hit that bell.
Leave a comment.
Leave a comment. We'll see you next time.
Ciao.
Bye.